Hello everybody, we're back again. This is round 2 of Weekend Night Racing here, and we are at Imola, and as you can see it is wet conditions here in qualifying. You're going to be seeing our last runs here as the track did improve, so these last lap times should be the quickest ones of the session by a little bit. The track has stayed intermediate conditions throughout the session, but only just. Yeah, I was waiting the last second to see if it would improve to dry conditions, which it does not seem it is going to be doing so. So we'll be making one more qualifying run here on intermediates and at a track Imola. If you at that, English. I always say it's hard, but a track Imola that I've always said is fucking terrible for pad, but in the wet, it is not near as bad. So I feel pretty good in the wet here, actually, especially in terms of race pace. So we will see what I can do here in qualifying. And yeah, after that first disappointing race at Australia, disappointing in terms of the result, in terms of our terrible luck, but not disappointing in terms of the way we played. We played great. You know, we had a good qualifying. We were running a great race, and yeah, kind of got mugged of a good result there in that one. So we really got to try to make it up here. So if we could make it up here at what probably should be this alongside Monaco, our worst races of the season, then, you know, that would be massive for us. So coming into the final couple of corners, very important to get a good run, but not overly spin the tires, which is very easy to do in the wet conditions. So nice and smooth onto the power, not leaving anything, not leaving any more time on the table in terms of grip. But like I said, not overstepping. Don't want to spin the tires too much. You want to err more on the side of caution in the wet because while sometimes you can get the power down more aggressively, you're actually still losing time in doing so. Sam Swift puts in the fastest time so far. He was one of the better drivers, to say the least, last season, a name you might recall if you've seen my videos from last season when, remember, that was Hyperdrive. Same league, just rebranded name. And a very solid first sector for us so far. We don't want to take as much curve as we usually would in the dry there, as it can slightly unsettle the car. The car bottoms out a lot more easily in the wet conditions. We see caution ahead, but the car has just smartly gone off to the outside to stay out of the way of us, which we do appreciate. Very cautious in through here. It's very easy to get too far to the outside, get sucked out on the curb. Really trying to use all the track I can so I can be aggressive on the throttle as possible. Taking a lot of curb through the chicane. You're not taking as much speed through the chicane in the wet, so you can take more curb without it unsettling the car. Quick onto the power as well, but again, not overly spinning the rear tires, which is where you can lose a lot of time in the wet. Nice and clean through the last couple of corners. And yeah, this is a pretty solid light rain lap. Pretty solid intermediate lap. We come across the line, and that is pole position for us for Imola. And yeah, I was pumped about that one because, like I said, one, this is a track that's terrible on pad, and two, when you're racing the likes of, you know, other great players in the game and even challenger players, you know, to get a pole position like that, it always feels damn good. And we do it by 2/10 as well, almost 3/10 over Sam Swift. AC Immortal third, and yeah, we are looking damn good in the race, but I know that my wet pace is going to be faster than my dry pace. So again, my goal is just same as Australia.
That one feels good.
If I can just pull out a podium, that is great. You know, get the tracks that aren't my strongest out of the way here immediately at the start of the season, and then we can quickly get into the tracks that I'm a lot better at, where I can much easier fight for the consistent podiums. All right, now fast forwarding to the race. For some reason, compared to real life, you start a lot further back. You start right in the middle of this corner. I tried to straighten it out a little bit. Tried to straighten it out a bit too much. So yeah, we are going to have to get a good launch because we are not sit as far forward as we could be. You see that it's a beautiful sunset for this race. And no, that's not by design. That is just the lobby host once again having the settings completely fucked, which has just become a standard in this league. Like I said in the last episode, not going to go into that. I've already said my piece. It was already in the video with my interview after I won the finale last season, and absolutely nothing changed, and that's why this league has collapsed over time, because no one gives half a shit when they are running it. Not to mention that Tier 1 is like the side show when all the attention goes to the below tiers for some reason. But the lights are out. You throw out a random catchphrase as you get underway. We run it very wide to try to keep the car straight as possible so we can get on the throttle as aggressively as possible. We're going aggressive braking to the first corner, but we just hold on to it without compromising corners 2 and 3. And yeah, even though we fuck up our approach to the grid, which is the only time I've done that in the entire year of the game, after I get one of my best pole positions, we still, no harm, no foul, because we still have hold P1 here in the first lap at Imola, and already a little bit of a gap forming behind us, and I'm really hoping that early on the cars behind will fight, and maybe we can actually pull away in this one. So yeah, that's a little bit of a pipe dream at this point, but yeah, to have a track like this that is very pad disadvantage, get pole position, and have a start like this where we're leading on lap 1, things could not be going any better at all right now. All that we need is to just not get fucked by another safety car like we did in Australia, and yeah, we are looking for a great race here. Beginning of lap 2 now, and Kaya has retired from the session already. Another driver has crashed out with him, and that has brought out a safety car. Way too early in the race, of course, to be thinking about pitting. So if anything, I was a little annoyed by the safety car because it kind of just brings the field back together when I wanted it to spread out. I wanted the race to progress. I still saved a lot of my battery, you know. Things were definitely playing out in our favor in terms of the long game. But, you know, it's not that big of a deal. It's only like a 1-lap difference. If we can just get a good launch and hold P1 into turn 1, even though it's a long run from when I will restart to turn 1, as long as we can hold first place there, I will still be happy at the end of the day.
Trick people, though.
Safety car to come in at the end of lap 4, so start of lap 5 of 32. We'll be getting underway as we are being cautious of when we're going to launch. Always be unpredictable with your launch. Always have it planned out in your head what you're going to do. So then, you know, you just do your thing and everyone else has to react to you. Again, okay launch. The Aston Martin behind is in our slipstream, so we're going to go defensive here just to ensure we hold the position. He's going to barely be able to get alongside, but nothing doing there around the outside of turn 1. We hold the position. Not the best turns 2 and 3, though. We're going to use a little bit of the battery to ensure that he doesn't try anything fancy going into this chicane. And yeah, so far so good here, holding the lead into Sector 2. And this is exactly what we needed. Just settle right back into the rhythm, holding this lead. And yeah, this is just the exact opposite of what I thought was going to happen. I thought, you know, kind of something that, like, what happened in Australia would be happening here, and what's happening here happened in Australia. It's kind of just been a flip-flop. But again, I'm thinking of terms of the whole championship here, and this being one of like the 2 marks on the counter that I have like an asterisk beside that's like, ooh, you know, this is damage control. This in Monaco, you know, just 2 tracks awful on pad. You know, just being able to be in this position right here as I get a call, which I will take, is just a great start for us. Advancing forward a little bit, start of lap 10 now, still holding the lead. Not a big gap behind me, but P2 and P3 starting to battle a little bit. They're very close to each other. And yeah, still, just everything going good for us right now. Just, we're having a great pace. We're driving excellently. And yeah, things are turning up Millhouse right now. We will continue to hold our lead up through lap 17, and this is our pit window. Aggressive into the pit lane. I rehearse everything before my races, even my pit lane entrances and exits. So trying to get every little bit of time we can, but of course, always erring on the side of caution because nothing can ruin your race quicker than a 5-second time penalty for speeding into the pit lane. Medium tires slapped on, and we will see if we still hold the lead. When we come out of the pits, obviously there will be a slight undercut advantage to those that pit to the hards earlier after starting on mediums, but as we were in the lead already, shouldn't be much of an issue contending with the people in the opposite strategy, the inferior strategy that for some reason people still ran all the way through this game's lifespan, which is honestly just still fucking hilarious to me. Like, come on guys, like this game's easy, like the meta's figured out. It's hards to mediums on every track in the game, and yet people still try other shit, and they're like, oh wow, like this didn't work out for me. I wonder why. But hey, it is what it is, and it's free positions for us at the end of the day. So Let idiots be idiots, right? We hold the lead coming out of the pits, got our tires up to temperature, and we just settle right back into our rhythms. Just driving to the best of our ability. We got some quick guys still behind us. AC Immortal still behind us. Challenger Driver Black Box still behind us, and he's coming up through the field. Like I said, just driving to the best of my ability. My goal is still, obviously, I want to hold this lead, but even if I lose the lead, if I can just hold a podium in this race, it is a huge win for us in terms of the long term of the championship, especially considering that the quickest guy right now on track and the winner of Australia, Black Box, won't be racing through the entirety of the season. So he's not the guy I'm fighting on points currently, and he is the guy coming up through the field in P2. So, wow, I would love to get that extra 7 points for first place. If he does catch up and overtake me, which is, if it's going to happen anywhere in the game, it's going to be here at Imola where pad fucking sucks, then just let it happen. Just racing my own race, and yeah, right now this is a huge win for us in terms of the longevity of the season. And yeah, I know this is probably not the most exciting video for you guys so far as we advance into lap 22, but yeah, nothing really has happened. I mean, grid start, held the lead, early safety car, held the lead all the way through the pit stops, and now here we are with 10 laps to go, still just holding the lead. Black Box slowly gaining on us, but not able to overtake us yet at this point. And this is just kind of how things have been for a long time. So yeah, not too much to report on, so I'm not going to stretch this out longer than obviously it needs to be. I like to get to the point with the video, but at the same time not just make it a highlights clip. And now we pull it even further forward, all the way onto the end of lap 30. There's going to be 2 laps to go at the line. Can we hold off Black Box for just 2 more laps? We've used up almost all of our battery to stay ahead of him, but do we have enough battery in the tank? Does he have enough battery in the tank to fight us? Sam Swift is retired from the session, but it's too late in the session for a safety car. So it's going to be a straight up head-to-head between me and Black Box. He's got the DRS, and it's such a long straight. He flybys us on the straight. It's annoying to see, but like I said, I know as a pad player, Imola is not going to be the place where you're going to be the fastest in the world. And, wow, it's irritating to lose the lead like this right at the end of the race. This is like a gigantic win for us. To get second at a track like this for us is just fantastic for the longevity of the season, especially considering the only person to beat us on track is someone that we're not going to be fighting in the championship at all. So this really is, pretty much a win. But of course, those 7 extra points would have been better. But hey, if you would tell me going into Imola, it's a 2nd place finish, we are more than taking that any day of the week. But it is not said and done yet. Still, 1 more lap to go in this one. If we can keep close enough to Black Box, then maybe we can get him back on the final straight. We have a great chicane there. We're going to use a little bit of the battery to stay right up his chuff through these penultimate 2 corners of the lap to see if we will have enough straight line speed to overtake him on the front stretch of the final lap. So here we go to the line. He still has a lot of battery in the tank, but we have some battery. We have DRS. We have the slipstream. But too bad, because in this game, slipstream and DRS means jack all, so he has more battery, so he's going to be able to stay ahead. We don't get the job done, but we are still staying close here in Sector 1. Anything can happen, so you can't quit on anything at any point in any race. But he's pulling ahead slightly here. We have a bad second chicane. Couldn't get the car rotated through the 2nd corner. And half a lap to go in this one. 3rd place is way behind, so we don't have to worry about him. But yeah, he is pulling away from us quickly. He's using the rest of his battery, and we've already used up everything in the tank. So it is looking like we are going to be P2 here. We checked to see if he has any penalties. He does not have any penalties, so Black Box is going to go on to win this race. But hey, a P2 for us here is still a fantastic result. And yeah, especially after the... even still just thinking about it, Australia is so frustrating. We were having just a perfect race, just to get absolutely mugged by that safety car and just have no chance for doing much of anything. So this is a big chunk of points to claw us back further in the championship. And this was actually good enough to put us in like a tie for 3rd in terms of the points. So still looking good here early on in the season as our AI just goes right into the back of Black Box. AC Immortal 3rd, another 7 seconds behind us, and he will complete the podium positions. So yeah, a big bounce back for us at Imola, and that's one of the two big races we're worried about on the calendar. Done and dusted with a P2 finish on it. You know, if we can just have a decent result at Monaco, then we are looking really good for a championship here, which would be great considering, you know, we are the twice in a row runner up in the championship. It would be great to finally get that championship. And that would be a great way to mark off this league after it ends up disbanding, because I would be the only person to have a top tier championship in every iteration of the league. I won the multiplayer car championship, which only had one tier, in Parabolical and Hyperdrive, and then if I would win the Division One title here in Weekend Night Racing, I would be the only driver to have a title in all three iterations. Any top tier, you know, you can't just mug some like Division 6 or some shit like that. To have a top tier title in all three leagues, that was like my big goal, because I knew even if this league didn't stay together, it was probably this is going to be it for me this last season. Especially after the great season we had last year. We finally got a Constructors Championship as well, if you remember that. Clinched the Constructors right at the end. That was great. But yeah, still a lot of racing to do, so we can't be counting on that just yet. But yeah, that is Imola done and dusted. Great result there. Big bounce back for us, and we will see if we can have another great result at the next race at Spain. So until then, I will see you guys in the next one.